Hi there, Hornets. My name is Allison Funk, and you're listening to the Bullet Podcast. I am the broadcast editor of the Bulletin, and this is a brand new series that we're starting up. It's something new that we're going to be starting here at the Bulletin, and this is really exciting because we've never had this before. So if you're watching right now, you're quite possibly watching history be made because we've never done this. So if you don't know what the Bulletin is, we are your news source for everything newsworthy. We have events, sports, anything breaking news, and we send those out to print every 2 weeks, and so you guys can get those on campus, faculty, students, whatever you are. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. So make sure to go follow us, the Bulletin. And then we are also going to be posting these, I think, on our social media websites as well. So you guys can find us there and listen to our podcast on your way to classes, during the day whenever you're getting ready, or whenever you want, really. So we're really excited about this. I'm excited to be a part of this, get this started. Today we have a very special guest, our very first guest for the Bullet Podcast, and that is Bella Eppens. How are you doing, Bella?
I'm good. How are you today, Allie?
Pretty good. I'm pretty excited to have you on today. Do you want to just introduce a little bit about who you are and what your job is here at the Bulletin?
Yeah, sure. So I am the editor-in-chief here in the Bulletin, so I am the boss, basically. I make all of the final decisions, help design the pages and everything. I was the managing editor last semester, which was my first semester, so I've only been here for a couple of semesters, but it's been a great time, and I've really enjoyed the staff and meeting all of the new people and bringing the news to you guys.
Awesome. That's so great. Have you always wanted to be in journalism? What are your plans What are your plans after you graduate?
Well, I wanted to be an English teacher for quite a while, but I didn't get into journalism until my junior year of high school, when my sophomore English teacher, Mr. Farnan, was holding journalism classes, and my best friend at the time was in them. And so I joined them, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of the aspects of it. We had a newsletter called Stall Talk that we would put in the bathroom stalls, a monthly thing with just little columns from all of us, and all of our stories would go up online, and we were called the Hawkeye. And so that was a lot of fun. And I've always enjoyed writing. I've been writing since I was really little, probably since I could write stories and everything. And then I got to college here at ESU, and I was going back and forth on becoming a journalism minor, and I finally did. It was a great decision, probably one of the best decisions I've made during my college career. And so I took, my sophomore year, I took news reporting and advanced reporting with Professor Max McCoy, and then I also started on an internship for investigative reporting, which is how I got connected to the Bulletin, because some of the Bulletin staff at the time worked on there. As for what I'm doing with the future, I'm not entirely sure. I think that it's going to be writing of some sort, and most likely journalism, because I've really enjoyed it, and really enjoyed what I've been doing for the Bulletin. So, yeah.
Got you. Wow, that's really cool. And I could definitely relate with all the high school stuff. I actually didn't start at the Bulletin right away either. I mean, this is just my first semester. But when I was in high school, it was my first time doing yearbook and things like that, and I got really into writing and photography and everything that was newsworthy. I thought it was really cool, even though we weren't a newspaper for my high school. That's really cool. Well, what did you want to be when you were a kid? When you were a kid, looking up to yourself now, what would you say that you wanted to be?
Oh boy. For a lot of years I wanted to be a teacher. I realized that wasn't really the path that I should go down. But yeah, for a lot of years I wanted to be a teacher. At one point, after reading the book A Wrinkle in Time, I wanted to be an astrophysicist until I realized all of the math that was involved in that. So I think younger me would just be happy that I'm doing something that I like. A little surprised that it's not teaching, but glad that it's writing. Because like I said, I was writing since I was really little. So
Yeah. And Bella's a great boss. I've loved having her. She's awesome. Really, you should see this woman on the run every single day. Even today, we had quite the day in the newsroom, right, Bella?
Yeah. I was just working on getting pages designed, sketching the designs out and everything, because we're actually going to print this week. And then suddenly there was breaking news, which you guys will find out about later. But it's definitely crazy when breaking news happens. It always seems to happen at the most inconvenient times. Like a couple weeks ago, the provost officially resigned 30 minutes before a staff meeting. It was going to be a big staff meeting with a lot of stuff to talk about, and so it was pretty crazy dealing with that. But that's just the nature of news.
Oh yeah, nature of news. Nature of being a journalist, honestly.
Yeah.
I walked in and everything was fine. The next minute, Bella was in the other room and she's on phone calls and she's like doing all of this stuff. I was like, what's happening? So yeah, that was all really crazy. But yeah, Bella's a great boss.
Thank you.
Out of your time working here, do you have a story or one specific story that you feel like is like your most proud moment as a journalist so far?
Wow. There was a story that I enterprised, and enterprising is basically where you come up with a story idea yourself, the managing editor hasn't assigned it, and so I used to cover ASG as a beat last semester, and I can't remember what they're called, but the knitting club, they were basically re-recognized as a club, or they were recognized or re-recognized. I can't remember which. It's been a little while. Lots of crazy things have happened since then.
That's okay.
But they were talking about their community service project, which was knitted knockers. And so they were basically prosthetic breasts that they were knitting and crocheting. And so I decided to follow up on that myself. And I scheduled interviews, and I took pictures at the cancer center where they were doing that, and I was just really proud of finding that idea and following through with that, and just how well that story went, and the photos that were taken.
Wow, that's so cool. And knockers, so did they use these? What happened
Yes,
here?
they donated them to the cancer center here in Emporia.
Wow,
so they made
that's
them
really cool.
Over, I think it was the course of a month. You can find the story in our print edition in one of our print editions from last semester. But they were knitting them for over about a month, and then they ended up donating them so that they could be used instead of the heavy silicone prosthetics. They're just lightweight, but they still fill out bras and everything. So
that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the next print coming out that you can talk about that you're excited for students this year, or anything that you're looking forward to for the bulletin as a whole?
I feel like as for the print, I'm probably just excited for everyone to read all of the stories that we've written. Just because of weather and other difficulties, we haven't been able to go to print yet this semester. And so I'm really excited to see how this turns out, how everyone's stories look on print. I'm excited for our new staff to see their work in print with their byline. That's going to be really cool. And then as far as this semester, I'm just excited to see how we've been growing. We've built up our staff again. Last semester, we didn't have that many people at all, and we've hired a lot of people. For this semester, a lot of great people. I'm excited for this broadcast part, for this podcast. This is so cool. We're bringing back sports coverage, slowly but surely, which is something that we haven't really followed up with a lot as of recent, just because of COVID and small staff and everything. But we actually have a sports editor now, Jamie Moraine. So we're going to be doing features. Our photographer, Mason, and our videographer right now loves doing sports photos, so I'm excited to see those. I'm trying to think of anything else. We're also trying to increase our online presence. And just get the word out there about who we are, which I think this podcast is a great way to do that. And just get the news out to people, and make it a bit more student-centered. See what they want, and see what they want to hear about. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. No, all of those are so great, and I agree with you. I think we have a great staff this year. Our cameraman, Mason, which you can't see right now, he does a great job. He's actually going to be editing all of this, and it's been fun getting started, and I enjoy being in front of the camera and learning about all these different ways to edit it and things like that. It's a great opportunity, and then everyone at the Bulletin is is so kind, and maybe it's just because I wasn't here for very long at the beginning when I first started, because I started last semester at the Bulletin, but I feel like we have so many members this year compared to this semester compared to last semester.
Yeah, we definitely have built up our staff, and it's really exciting. Also, an exciting but a little bit nerve-wracking part of that is that all of us are new as of last semester, except for Margaret, who was the editor-in-chief for several semesters before I was. So we're all new, which is great in the sense that we're going to be bringing in a lot of like new ideas, fresh takes and everything, but also a little bit nerve-wracking because everyone is still learning. But it's very exciting to see everyone learn and grow. And I think you guys have just grown together more because you're all new and you're all helping each other out, which I think is so cool, so awesome.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're quite the team here at the Bulletin. I don't feel like I feel like everyone gets along pretty well, and then also the fact that we're all kind of dealing with COVID. I mean, for example, us on Zoom right now, it's nice that we're able to like not wear masks at the moment to do this for the podcast, but it's, I feel like every day we're having to go through these, problems that we just have to like overcome them because of COVID. There's just so many things we have to consider and go through, so I feel like we've been doing a really good job at that, and you and Sam are great. Sam is our, what's Sam's official title?
Managing editor. So she assigns all of the stories. She is my right-hand man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she helps me a lot. So it's been joked that we operate as a single unit. But yeah, she's great.
Yeah, for sure. We may have to bring Sam on for the podcast one day, because she would be she would be really fun.
Sure.
We've been talking a little bit about having like a few of the or like having lots of the Bulletin members come in and do the podcast, just to have like a, people get to know us and like who we are, and like Bella mentioned, we need to have, if you guys are on social media, definitely follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're trying to grow our social media platform, just really let you guys know who we are, so yeah, make sure to do that. How long have you worked for the Bulletin again?
I started last semester, but it was a little bit weird because I'd worked with Margaret before on an internship.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Which had started October of my sophomore year, and then I started in August of my junior year, which was, yes, this is my junior year. I'm not a senior yet. Oh boy. Which was this August is when I officially started on the Bulletin as the managing editor.
Got you. I know we asked this in our staff meeting the other night, and so I just wanted to throw you like a random fun question. But if you were any animal, what animal would be? And you can't pick the one from staff meeting the other night. You have to do like a different one.
So I can't pick dragonfly. Okay. I think that was like insect or something is what Margaret asked. What animal? Well, I love foxes. My favorite animal used to be owls for a lot of years, and I still love them. They're still really amazing, cool creatures. But maybe a fox, because they're just like, I don't know. They're like majestic in their own way. I don't know. They're just cool. I love foxes.
I love foxes. I love that. So one more question for you. I just want to ask you about some of like the harder stories, and a lot of people don't see, the Bulletin's work very often, and like all the things we do behind the scenes, and sometimes getting stories and everything can be pretty hectic, and while we get through it, it's definitely difficult to do certain stories. Do you have a specific story that you feel like was harder to write, or like in the sense of like what the story was difficult?
Well, it's always difficult when sources don't get back to you. That's the thing about journalism, is that you can't write a story unless people talk to you. So that's always hard. I can't think of anything like a subject specifically that was harder to write about. I can think of an instance, it's kind of a crazy story, that was just difficult, and it deals with breaking news, is the apartment complex across from the science hall caught on fire. It was apparently arson at the end of the semester, and I had just, like, the mantle of EIC had just been passed on to me, and so I was like, okay, I'm in town, I gotta go cover it. It happened, like 4 o'clock in the morning. They were fighting it until, like, 2 p.m. or something like that. And so afterward, I went to go take pictures of the building. And as I was editing the building, it caught on fire again. It rekindled.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this was, like, 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that. And it was freezing cold. And all I had was, like, my hoodie. And I went out there to take more pictures. I'd only had, like, one experience shooting at night from Max's photojournalism class, and I called Sam over, and she helped me out. We were there for a while, taking pictures as they put out the fire again, and then, like, editing it and putting it up online and everything. There were some technical difficulties along with that, but that was definitely one of the crazier, harder ones to get out, just because of the nature of the story.
Wow. Yeah, and I do remember that happening, and I don't think either I didn't work for the Bulletin yet, or I just don't remember that happening while I was here. But it was definitely crazy.
Yeah, everyone's contracts had pretty much finished for the semester by then, so it was just me and Sam, and it was also, like, the day before the, like, finals week, so...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't know that you had to take that, like, while it was catching on fire, though.
Yeah. I was, like, editing the initial photos of just the damage and everything when Max called me and was like, hey, it caught on fire again. You should go over there.
Wow.
So I went over there and took photos again. It was, like, dark and cold and a crazy night.
The life of journalists, you know?
Yeah, definitely one of those experiences that I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And if you guys are like, who the heck is Max? So Max is actually a professor here at ESC. If you haven't had one of his classes yet, and you're going into journalism or thinking about going into journalism, you should definitely take one of his classes. He's a great guy. He is the advisor for the Bulletin, so while he doesn't write the stories, he does help us with, like, any questions that we have. Really great guy. He has been so helpful, and we have him in, like, classes together. So he's a great teacher if you guys get a chance to take a class from him. So, yeah, do you have a memory with Max that that sticks out to you?
Oh boy, I don't know. There are so many. I mean, his classes are always just interesting, and he has, like, the craziest stories to tell. Some of them are like, oh wow, did that, like, really happen? Just in, like, he's been in journalism for a while, and so he has a lot of crazy stories. I think maybe the craziest or the funniest thing was that I was at home for winter break last year, and my dad, for some reason, was watching Ancient Aliens, even though he never does. And he walks into my room, and he's like, who's your professor? And I was like, which professor? I have a lot of them. And he was like, you're a journalism professor. And I was like, Max McCoy? He's like, he's on Ancient Aliens. And I was like, what? He was on an Ancient Aliens episode about, like, cowboys.
No way.
From a while ago, which is, like, crazy, and I didn't know about that, and my dad just, like, stumbled across it, so...
I'm gonna have to check that out, because I need to, like, look that up on YouTube, because not that I don't believe it, but I'm like, it's hard to believe that he was on a TV show.
Yeah, he's also, like, written Indiana Jones books.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also got other books. I think he just released a new one, so I'll plug that for him. I don't know the name of the title of the book, but he wrote a new book.
Yeah, and Max is crazy. Like, that man's done so many things.
Oh, yeah.
He really doesn't, honestly, get enough recognition for all of the stuff he's done. But, yeah, well, that's great. I think that's all the questions I have for you. But thanks so much for coming on and being our test subject for the first time doing the podcast. Is there anything that you want to say before we go? Anything you want to mention about the Bulletin, or?
Just check us out. We are here. I know that a lot of people don't read print papers a lot anymore, but we put a lot of work into that, and we have, like, little, like, drop stations, like, all over campus where we deliver the papers, and we also post all of our stories online, and we share them on Facebook and Twitter. We're hopefully going to get our Instagram up and going again. So yeah, just check us out, and if you ever have story ideas, like, let one of our staff know, and so we can follow up on what you guys are interested in and what you guys need to know about. And then thank you, Allie, for being so excited about all of this broadcast stuff. If you didn't know, she's the one who's actually like, hey, could we do some broadcast stuff? She is an aspiring broadcast journalist, and she is spearheading this and doing an amazing job, and it's so great to hear all of her ideas. So thank you so much for giving me the honor of being the first guest on The Bullet.
Yeah, of course. And I am really excited, and thank you. I appreciate that. I do aspire to be a broadcast journalist one day, so that's what I'm hoping for. So I am really excited about this and excited to get it started up at the Bulletin, considering we've never had it before. And the Bullet is a temporary name, so if you guys are like, oh, I don't like that name, that's okay. We might have you later if we have enough viewers, if we have enough people come in and comment on our online resources, then we might be able to get the name changed. Or if you guys have any other suggestions, logos, anything like that, definitely let us know. And I think that's pretty much all we have for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you've made it to the end of this, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate all of your support. And we're really excited for some future podcast ideas and interviewees that we have coming in. Some ideas that we've had so far for the Associated Student Government here at ESU. And there's elections coming up, so that's really exciting. So if you guys want to hear the inside scoop on all the elections and people running against each other, definitely tune in for our next podcast. We're really excited for it. So thank you so much for watching.